We get Julio in here, but then we'd have to learn how to speak Spanish.
He would do it all backwards.
We could have Teresa do this at 3 in the morning. That's not the thing you do at 3 in the morning, Teresa.
What?
That's testing. You always worry about...
1, 2, 3.
Now see, they did the sensing line right on the jockey pump. See how it's got the valve down at the bottom off of the drip leg that you open it up to drop pressure to start it? Why didn't they do that over there?
You're dealing with the masses, and the masses are asses. So my dad always said.
I like that. Does anybody here know what we're doing?
Yes, and how to turn this.
How to turn this thing on right here. This bad boy.
The big old motor.
It has to be tested once a week to keep it vibrant.
Okay.
Hopefully, whenever I have to use it in the fire.
First thing you need to do is what? Is it Matt? Matt did, and that's called
Fire
something.
control.
Because otherwise that thing fires up and the fire trucks will be here in about 2 or 3 minutes. And they're gonna be hot because there's no flames or smoke.
You got a what?
So,
What do we do first?
You're supposed to go to the house tomorrow.
you wanna test the jockey pump, that's this. It's a little bitty pump that maintains high pressure. See how the system, those gauges up there say around 145 PSI?
When she gets there, call me back.
Your controller says 148, that's a lot more accurate. Well, you got 55 pounds of city water coming in here.
Well, I'm in the back right now. I don't want to be in the okay?
This maintains that 150 some pounds of pressure in that system because we don't want this thing kicking on and only having 50 pounds of water in there, and that thing's gonna churn at 150 PSI. So you'll water hammer everything and blow pipes out of the sky. So what they do, put this jockey pump on there that is a high pressure pump that maintains the high pressure in the system, but it's low volume. It'll only put out like 10 gallons a minute. So whenever you get a sprinkler head going off, this can't keep up with the water loss of the sprinkler head and allows this thing to kick on. So to be able to test these once a week, you call Sonatrol, and you want to make sure that the jockey pump works. So you walk over here, take this valve, you just kick that pump off. And what it is, this is a sensing line that goes over to the high pressure side. This is the controller that tells this when to kick on and when to shut off.
We should probably get a bucket in here where we do that.
Well, no, actually, well, they did it a little backwards, but this is a check valve. It allows water to go one way and not go the other. So what they did is they put them in backwards and they drilled a little hole in there. That way when I open this up, I'm dumping out more water than what can come in and allows the pressure to drop in a heartbeat. Because otherwise with this little 1/2-inch line and all that pipe over there, I'd have to open that valve and let it flow till the cows come home before I could drop enough water pressure to get this thing to kick on. So what you do is you trick it. Normally we'll put restricted orifice unions in there that have like a 3/32 opening in there. That way when you open this valve, you dump out more water than what's coming in, causes the pressure to drop in a heartbeat. Watch this video when I open that. See how that plunge goes down to nothing? With just that small water loss.
It didn't kick on, huh?
Yeah, it did.
Oh.
It's just up to pressure. As soon as I shut it off, it shut off.
Oh, okay.
The fire pump's supposed to be the same way, but they did it wrong.
It didn't.
They put the valve over here instead of over there where it's supposed to be. So we're gonna have to do this a little bit different till it gets fixed.
Yeah, they're going to fix it. I talked to Ted Hagney's last week. I showed him it says do not put a valve or anything on there. They put it on the wrong side.
So to do this, we have a test button. And what that's gonna do, it's gonna dump a small amount of water off, cause a pressure drop, and cause this thing to kick on.
So the big one will kick on this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what kicks on the alarm, what he was talking. That big-
Yes,
Yeah, the big one.
if that kicks on, it will give you an alarm and Soundtrol will respond. So normally, when this thing gets fixed, it's gonna look just like this right here. And you're gonna wanna do the same thing over there, open that valve up to do it.
So you won't use the test button?
No. But today we're gonna use the test button, because that valve's not supposed to be on there. And basically, it's doing the same thing, but you have to have a drip leg condensation sediment collector like this is. The sensing line comes over, and it has this condensation, or not condensation, but sediment collector drip leg on the bottom of it, so you don't get junk up in there to clog up small orifices and start triggering things.
Is there sediment and water?
Yeah, it's nasty old sprinkler water.
It
It's
smells.
not drinkable, or what they actually call potable water. It's yucky. Okay, heads up. When we run this pump, you're gonna need to pay particular attention to a couple different things. That right there is what they call a casing relief valve. Okay, notice how you only got city water pressure, 55 pounds on that pump? When this thing kicks on, it's gonna bump up to 150. Now, when this thing's running, it's not pumping anything. All it's doing is churning water, because everything's already up to pressure. So it's just churning water at about 1800 RPMs and 150 PSI. So to keep this thing cool, that relief valve, that casing relief valve, has to open up and take and dump water. Now they got it dumping outside over here. They didn't put a floor drain in through there, and in the wintertime that's going to freeze up and it's going to be a problem, but that's neither here nor there. But what that does is keeps a fresh supply of water coming into the pump and cools it, because otherwise you're going to burn it up. On each side of this pump, this right here is the inboard side packing gland. Then you got a outboard or a thrust bearing packing gland. And this shaft right here is what turns at 1780 RPMs. And this has got to leak to cool it. The same as this over here. So if it's not leaking, you have to take a pair of pliers, adjust the nuts on this to let this gland out a little bit. And I'll play with it here in a minute. But it has got to leak. And you need to put your hand on it to make sure it's cool when it's running. Because if that thing gets hot, you're going to sit there, it's got packing in through there, and it'll scald that packing, start scarring the shaft and everything else. So there's three things that have to happen to cool this pump. That packing gland, and that casing relief valve have all got to be dumping water to cool it. So,
What happens, how do you know if that's not dumping water? I mean, I understand if you're adjusting these to get water, but what happens, because the water comes from this?
yes, water will start dumping out of that. And it's basically a pressure relief valve. Because
The water comes out of all three spots. I mean, this doesn't have to control the water that comes out of here.
No.
Okay.
Normally, like I say, you'll have a floor drain into here and they pipe it over to the floor drain and dump it in the floor drain. They didn't put a floor drain in, so this one they took and dumped it outside. Now you're gonna need to pay attention in the wintertime, because with that going outside, if that thing leaks through a little bit, it's gonna freeze up outside and you're not gonna flow water at all, and that pump's gonna get hot. Because there's no place for the water to go. It'll be froze up outside.
That was the Plains decision, because they would have had a drill on the floor and put, that wasn't the sprinkler guy, that was Plains's. They didn't want to spend the money for the drain.
So, and they're coming off of this packing and that packing. See the plastic lines coming off of there? They're supposed to be dripping at all time. They got them outside too. So if you see water coming out of those packing bowls into there in the winter, you know it's froze up out there and it's just backing up and coming out into here. Ready to kick it on? See how you got water coming out of there? You can feel water going through there. You have to walk outside and look.
Is that leaking?
Where's the water in on this? I thought that was supposed to release water too.
That's going outside. See that white pipe?
That's going out there.
Yeah, they both go out.
I can see the water. Now you're not gonna see it on that.
That's what goes outside.
You wanna come over here and look at this? See how it's showing 154 PSI? It's a three-phase thing. See how it says A, B, and C, amps and volts? Make sure that the amp readings are pretty close. 57, 58, 59, 60, they don't have to be exact. They're never gonna be. Same with the voltage on there, 482, 484, 478. Make sure that those are all relatively close.
Make sure they're within 2 to 5.
No, 50. Yeah. What you don't want is one leg of the three-phase where it's
Got A, B, C. They ought to be pretty close. A, B, C.
480.
They're not going to be the same. They got to be close.
220 ohms. It's called single phase, where you walk one of the three legs. So just make sure they're all relatively close on the end of the pole. Like I said, that should be cool enough. It can be warm, and it's gonna be warm, just because the fact that it's stripping 1800 RPM. But everything should not be hot. And when you go like that, you go low, then you know you need to adjust it. And to adjust it, see the water coming out of there? If you're getting too much water on that, tighten that up. What it does is takes this gland and pulls it up in there and compresses that packing around the shaft. Or if you're getting not enough water, loosen it up and let more water come out. Because it will get all corroded up, nasty up, that kind of stuff. Just gotta play with it. Especially since it's new, it'll take a little time breaking it in. Once you get it reading once a week for several months in a row, it should be pretty maintenance free. Just gotta make sure that it's staying cool. That's probably a $25,000 pump if you don't wanna burn it up.
How long do you got to test it?
It has a timer. It says test duration.
So it goes off on its own?
Yeah, see the test duration right here? It started off at 10 minutes, now it's counting itself down. is that run timer on there. If you walk over and hit that green start button, you disable that run timer and it's gonna run to the cows come home or it burns up, one of the two.
We just let it go through the cycle.
Yep, just let it run through its cycle and in about 5 minutes it'll shut itself off. And what they normally do is kind of a rule of thumb for every 10 horsepower of the motor, you let it run a minute. So that's probably 100 horsepower electric motor.
Is that all we do? We have to open any valves or anything?
Nope. Everything that you've done, you've not closed any valves. The only thing that you've opened is the
The water.
sensing line ones to trick it out, drop the pressure, and cause it to start. Piece of cake, right?
And we got to write on that, you have to write on here that we did it.
If you want, that's what I normally
Weekly
do.
fire pump test, so we got to put
I'll
today's
put the
date.
date down there, I'll put the suction pressures and the discharge pressures. Now, normally when I do it,
And this is a suction on this side, right?
yes, sir.
And we have to write that one and that one.
And if you want to get involved with it, I can see if I got an extra pump test report sheet.
Yeah, we might as well make up a folder for them, Matt.
Kind of like a restaurant, who cleaned the bathroom last?
Yeah. Who did the pump last? That's probably what they use on Wipeout when they squirt those people. Big balls, big balls. You like that show, Jason?
You like that show?
It-
I like that Japanese show better.
I watch Wipeout just to see big balls. Once big balls is over with, I turn it
I
off.
can't believe that people are stupid enough to go on there.
I'd go on there, I'd do it.
You would?
I probably would.
Yeah, I would.
They were playing Wipeout 3 on Wii this weekend. I learned it for Richard.
They have a Wipeout on Wii.
They had Wipeout, Wipeout 2, Wipeout 3.
Really?
I rented Wipeout 3. They're pretty good at it.
I seen someone run across the big balls. That's the first time I ever seen that.
I've never seen it done.
Both, it was blind date. and both of them ran across. And the girl even said, "That's the first time I ever seen that." I like when they do those punching bags and then people, they take a break right there. They just get knocked out.
See on the game, there's a school one, and it has locker doors.
Any questions, Doug?
Yeah, one for you guys.
Yeah, I want to get that stuff out of, gotta get that stuff out of here too. I got
You're copying it for us. It's like, who cleaned the bathroom last?
who did the bathroom this week? That's doing good.
What we was talking about earlier, your water flow switch. I didn't replace it. What I did is I took.
Okay, so you have to hold it in a little bit.
Yeah,
What do you have to hit?
The reset.
Reset.
You gotta hold it in a little bit, you just can't just press it.
Okay.
see how it says all
System is normal. So this is a reset one there.
Yes.
Okay.
I think this one's going off over here.
Matt, when you call Sonatrol, all that does is tell them to disregard any offers that they get. When you put the system in test, they still get these alarms, they just don't act. That's all Sonatrol.
Yeah.
We'll get it all in one trip, by the way. That way, when you're done with this, everything's all clear, you can call it back, say, take us off test. Then whenever the alarm goes off, they'll
They can reset it too.